This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life. Welcome to the Inkpulp podcast, the third in my series of skulls with my inking experiments. Now, this skull was probably the favorite of the ones I had drawn. The first one I did really like, and the second one was good. I was happy with it, but this one was really something I was more happy with than the others. And in the coloring, the first one I drew really came to be maybe my favorite. I loved the oranges in it, but I liked how I colored this one too. I was just happy with what I did on almost all of this. I apologize. See, I just adjusted the screen because I was zoomed in too much. And again, I didn't say this on the second episode of the skulls, but all of these skulls were drawn to create some merch with. And all of these skulls are available on my TeePublic site, which is in the episode description below. And they are available on TeePublic on just about anything you could imagine. You can get shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, like zip-up hoodies, tank tops, baseball jersey, tees, any type of like t-shirt or sweatshirt apparel you can think of. But also beyond that, you can get coffee mugs. I know a few people got some coffee mugs of these skulls and sent me pictures online, and those looked really cool. You can get phone cases. I did not allow the sticker option on this because I have these stickers myself, which are giveaways at most of my con appearances, or if you order something through my art dealer, Jason at Essential Sequential. But there's all kinds of cool stuff you can get. I mean, there's pins and buttons and I don't know, just lots of cool stuff you can get. So it just helps me keep stuff like this going. The more I can figure out ways to sell artwork of my own. So it's a way you can help me to keep this all going. If you like this sort of stuff and you are interested in having a cool piece of merch to wear out there. I mean, my hope is, and I would love to be at cons and just see people walking by with some cool Inkpulp gear on. So, I always had an interest in creating my own little apparel line, and I think this is the first step towards me doing that. And as it becomes more popular, I plan on growing it and probably getting away from TeePublic one day and creating my own merch on my own site in a more fashionable sense. The t-shirt quality at TeePublic is great. I've been pleasantly surprised because I've ordered some. So let's talk about what I'm doing here instead of trying to sell my shit. So you can see the broken line again, which I've been talking about, where you see on the forehead where it's like 3 strokes, or right there what I just did where it's like 2 strokes. That's where I'm imagining light hitting the face of the skull, and the thicker pure black lines are where I'm seeing more shadow, areas of the skull that recess into shadow. And this skull, again, these were all drawn at about 3/4 of an inch tall. So I was able to just blow them up in Photoshop and print them out blue and not pencil them any further because I just wanted to explore my inks a little more. And the idea of playing with my inks. So this being the third one, I'm very comfortable with it, and I'm saying to myself, I would like to work this way more often. So that's my plan. I'm about to start this Batman short story, and I want to bring more of this to the table, where I let some more decisions being made. I just did a convention where I did a bunch of commissions, and I didn't render them as much as I normally did, and I was really happy with the results. I'm getting very comfortable in my own skin as an artist, which took me a very long time. I think that's normal, and I hear it all the time. At what point do you feel good about the art you do? I think it just takes time. Like, the more you do it, you just start to figure out who you are as an artist, much like you do as a person. I mean, you spend a lot of time being who you are, and then you hit puberty, and you're like, well, who the fuck am I going to be now that I'm growing up? And you spend a lot of time figuring out who you are. So as an artist, it just makes sense. It would be the same thing, that your development, like much like your physical development as a human being and your emotional and mental development as a human being, you're going to go through this as an artist, just at a slower pace, because when you're developing as a human, I mean, you're developing 24/7. You don't have to do anything. It's just happening. But you've got to put in a lot of time and a lot of hours with your art to really get to know who you are, and get to know what you want, and get to know what you're doing. And even then, like I say, I think I'm very comfortable in my skin as an artist, and that doesn't mean I'm done. It doesn't mean like this is my art and it's going to look like this now. It just means I'm confident enough and comfortable enough that as I continue to grow, because honestly, that's really what being an artist is about, is continual growth. It just means that I'm comfortable enough and confident enough that as I grow, I'll be excited about the results instead of like embarrassed by the results. And even when they're not great, I'll be like, but I learned something really interesting from that. And I'm at the point where I believe my mistakes or experiments that don't give me what I'm looking for will have charm to them no matter what, and some of them will inform me on some new thoughts and some new approaches. This is the majesty of being an artist, is this constant discovery, this constant growth. And I imagine it's the same for any musician. It's the same for any type of artist, a chef. I mean, I consider food to be the ultimate medium in art, because it deals with taste, and just like music too. I just feel like these art forms, and maybe it's just because I'm a visual artist that I look at these other art forms as being more exotic and more in touch with the human experience. But taste and sound, I mean, that's magic. I think all art is magic. I think the fact that a sound can make you cry, like hearing a song, and it can make you emotional, that's magic. Or food can... I'm very passionate about food. Anyone who knows me knows this. If you've ever gone to dinner with me, you've seen me light up at taste. And so I'm blown away by all that. But I know visual art's the same thing. I just spend all day thinking about it and doing it, that, you know, I kind of lose the forest through the trees. I don't stop to think. But as I'm watching this, it's pretty fucking incredible that I can take a blank piece of paper and some drawing media and create something that isn't only recognizable, but is interesting to people. It is fun to see and continue to look at and explore with your eyes. My eyes are so trained and used to it. It's music and all that's different because it's so foreign to me. But yeah, so it's all about growth, continually growing. So as I'm wrapping up the skull, I'm trying to figure out how to handle this like shadow area here of the skull. I like the idea of some light creeping in on the edge there, and that's what the hatch marks are about. And I just fade it in and give it a little tooth on the edge. And I think right now I'm going to stamp it. Oh, let's do some white. I haven't done this yet. So this is just a little white splatter ink. I just thought it would be fun and interesting to throw on there at the end, give it some nice texture. And you'll see when I pull the paper away, yeah, interesting result. And you can see it on all the merch too. Stamp it, sign it. Thank you again for joining me on this skull series. Please click the link in the comments and check out my TeePublic site. Thank you for listening to the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.